I, 32-year-old female, and my partner, 34-year-old male, have been together for 3 years. He has 2 young daughters whom I am absolutely in love with, and I have wonderful relationships with each. My partner is so incredibly special to me. He came into my life at what had always felt to us like the perfect time. Everything aligned, and it truly felt different from the first day. We had both experienced a pattern of hurtful and/or toxic relationships, although his trauma can make mine sound like a 4-year-old's fear of the dark. But it meant that very quickly we could feel the difference in how much calm we brought each other. He made me feel like I'd never truly been in love with a person before. And he says the same. Or he did. Little backstory. See, when I say he's had trauma, I mean that from birth. This guy was either neglected or physically abused, with a couple of short breaks in his 20s, basically because he was single. And sometimes even that didn't keep the abuse away. He has had the kind of trauma no one person should have in a lifetime, and he got it all before the age of 29. So at some point, when the honeymoon period wore off and we realized we were still going real strong, I was on guard for one of us to self-sabotage because healthy is weird and unfamiliar. We argue, don't get me wrong, but I am a firm believer that this is healthy in a relationship, and what matters most is how you communicate during and how well you tie it off for each other afterward. 3 years in, and I am still disgustingly in love and sufficiently obsessed with this man in the most amazing way. We have grown so much in the time we've been together, and we were saying only a month ago how proud we are of how far we've come and how grateful we are to have each other. On to the problem at hand. He told me a couple of nights ago that he's been feeling disconnected from me over the last couple of weeks. He struggles with articulating how he's feeling and couldn't give me much, to be completely honest. He was just wrecked with anxiety. But in essence, he's been struggling with his attraction to me and doesn't feel connected to me anymore. I asked if he still loves me, and he said, "I don't know." I tried to get more out of him, but every answer was, "I don't know." I asked what he needed, and he asked for time and space. I spent the next 12 hours, while I got my affairs in order, in total agony, believing he was falling out of love with me. Past partners have treated me horribly, but nothing ever broke me like this. I'm staying at my parents' house a couple of hours away for the week, but before I left, I did manage to get him to tell me what his inner monologue was saying, the little voice inside your head. I don't know, we have attention deficit hyperactivity disorder and obsessive compulsive disorder, and sometimes the intrusive thoughts go on a nasty loop. She deserves better. This man, the love of my life, my in-person antidepressant, anti-anxiety medication, the sweetest, gentlest, most supportive person in my world that somehow exists in spite of everything that has happened to him, has, as it turns out, internalized all that negative feedback he's received throughout his life as "I am not worthy of love," to the point that it is now sabotaging our relationship for him. I did not see this coming. Now I'm relieved regardless. This is something we can work on, in my opinion. I've already been working on getting him into therapy with me, as I have been going for some time, and he has seen me benefit from it immensely. He won't go alone, he said, but he would do couples counseling with me. He hasn't necessarily agreed that this is what is happening to him, but he couldn't give me any answers until the questions were about all this. Also, I just know this man inside out, and he is full of self-loathing. When the shoe fits, am I right? I'm sure this all sounds like a lot of work to a lot of people, but believe me, this man does so much for me without using any words. But he is getting better with the words too, and I'm so proud of him. I'm not here for judgment on whether I should stay or go or push him into therapy. Those things are decided. I'm not leaving, and we're going to therapy. What I need help with is how to move through this next week. I sent him some messages this morning explaining my thoughts and that I don't think it's an us thing. I think it's a him thing. And if that's the case, I'm not going anywhere, which he was very receptive to. He's been messaging me throughout most of the day, which is actually more than we usually would. Before I left, we were both a sobbing mess together, talking about how we weren't ready to lose each other and we're each other's person and all our normal narrative. He did say he still loves me before I left in the end, but that it felt confusing and he didn't want to give me false hope. I believe it is all still there. He's just got it on lock because he doesn't think he deserves it. What I need to know, I guess, is should I be giving him positive affirmations here? Should I be telling him straight up I'm not going anywhere like I always have when he's needed reassurance, or do I follow his lead and pull back? To be fair, if anyone has been this person in a relationship, give me whatever advice you got. I don't want to push him away any further. He's just so overwhelmed right now, and all my reflexes are to be there with him, holding him and telling him how amazing he is and that everything will be okay. Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. I too once shared a romantic connection with a chronically depressed girl. She eventually decided to break it off by basically telling me she didn't deserve me and that I was too good for her. We reconnected almost 2 years later, and then she came clean that she had actually lost interest and wanted to end our relationship as nicely as possible. Comment 2. Is his name Ben by any chance? Because this literally happened to my friend after 3 years of being with him, and it turned out his disconnection, struggling to articulate, and telling her he thinks she deserves better were all just a cover for the fact that he was cheating on her with a work colleague. You do deserve better. Now, for the update. A couple days after the whole separation drama, my partner texted me asking to meet up. Like, okay, sure. We agreed to meet at this local diner that's known for its milkshakes. He loves those things. So, I figured it wouldn't be too awkward there, right? Wrong. He starts off saying he feels more confused than ever about our relationship, which, honestly, join the club, dude. He says that seeing his daughters has him all messed up because it reminds him of his past mistakes. Yeah, we all have those, don't we? So, we decide to keep the communication open, but I can sense this distance growing. It's like we're on different planets or something. Fast forward a week, and I'm at his daughter's birthday party. It's at this playground nearby, all decked out with balloons and cake. The girls are super excited, and the vibe is festive. My partner seems more relaxed around them, but he's still distant with me. Like, can I get a little attention here? I help serve cake and play games with the girls. We're having fun, and then, out of nowhere, his ex-wife shows up. Like, seriously? She greets everyone with a smile, all cheery and in a good mood. After we finish with the cake, she suggests a family photo together. My partner's all for it, and I'm just standing there like, great, just great. So I step back and take the picture, feeling like a total outsider. Later that week, my partner calls and says he needs space. He suggests we take a break to figure things out. Just like that. The next weekend, I'm at a family gathering for my cousin's graduation. It's at our grandparents' house, packed with relatives. I tell my parents what's been going on, and they're all concerned. My mom suggests I focus on myself for a while. Yeah, easier said than done. A few weeks later, I get this unexpected invitation from him. He asks me to join him for dinner at a restaurant we used to go to. I'm like, okay, maybe there's hope. At dinner, he tells me he's been seeing a therapist. So, there's that. He mentions wanting to make things work, but says he's feeling overwhelmed. No kidding. That night, I get a message from his ex-wife. She wants to talk. She mentions wanting to reach out as co-parents and offers friendship. Huh, isn't that rich? At the coffee shop, she shares stories about the girls, and it seems like she's just trying to be all buddy-buddy with me. But then, she hints that my partner still has unresolved feelings for her. What a shocker, right? She arranges a meeting with my partner and me at the diner. During the meeting, I confront them about their past. My partner admits he feels torn between two families, which welcome to my world, buddy. I calmly state that I won't be part of any love triangle, and he needs to figure his stuff out. The next day, I post about my experience on social media, just to get it off my chest. He reaches out, but I decide to focus on my own path. At this point, I'm just tired of the whole situation. To answer a few questions, my partner's daughters know about the issues, but aren't fully aware of the details. I didn't want to upset them. The ex-wife's involvement took me by surprise, and I felt it was necessary to meet her to understand her intentions. I'm prioritizing my own well-being now. Am I the idiot for telling my mother to stop comparing me to other people's daughters? I'm in my early 20s, and my mom is in her 60s. When I was a kid, around 5 or 6, my dad suddenly left my mom on a special date before they went to dinner. I'm sure my mom was a difficult person before that, but I think that particular event changed her completely. My dad and I have a pretty good relationship. She and my dad talk, but only when they need to. Like if my mom needs his help for something. When my dad and mom separated, she was depressed for a long time, and I spent some years basically living with my maternal aunt and uncle. They would make me breakfast and lunch, take me to school and pick me up, and I would sleep at their house. I only saw my mother at dinner. Eventually, I started living with her full time when I was a teenager. I don't have a single memory from my mom as a child, besides hearing her cry and speak to herself about my dad or telling me his family was evil. I don't remember us ever doing fun mother and daughter activities together. The last time I confided in her about my personal life was in 6th grade. I don't know when our relationship started to get worse exactly, but at some point, I just stopped talking to her. I don't tell her about boys and rarely about friends. She tells me she doesn't know me all the time, and that she knows so many colleagues who have an amazing relationship with their daughters, unlike us. She constantly compares me to her colleagues' children and tells me how they're so caring and do so much housework. Lately, she has been upsetting me so much, I don't know how much more time it will be until I snap. She will take the smallest thing and turn it into a screaming argument. The other day, the problem was that I bought too many skincare and beauty products. She lost it and started to scream about it, asking me how she was supposed to find space in the bathroom cabinets to put all those products away. I asked her if she wanted me to take some products to my dad's house, and she kept screaming. She went on about how I must prefer my dad so much and told me I should just move in with him permanently since I like him so much. Eventually, she found a box and put the products away, so the fight was for nothing. Today, she started yelling at me because I put something in the wrong bag of trash. I left the kitchen, and she went to her bedroom. We did not have dinner together. I am getting so tired, honestly, and I feel guilty all the time. She always finds a way to pick a fight with me. Sometimes she walks into the kitchen at dinner time with puffy eyes from crying, and I already know she's going to look for something to fight with me about. Whenever she starts talking to me, I just turn off my brain. She only talks about things she sees on YouTube, like conspiracy theories or true crime, or she talks badly about my dad's family and ends up screaming anyway. I can't say anything in the conversation unless I'm agreeing with her completely. If I disagree with something she says, I'm never on her side and that she should never speak again. When she starts fights, I just shut up at some point and try to just listen to my headphones, but it fills me with so much rage that she just won't stop arguing with me that sometimes I just cry from anger. I also sometimes wonder if she even loves me at all. I remember one time, a few years ago, being at a family dinner with her and other family members and friends, and noticing she was being so nice to me and even caressing my head, something I don't ever remember her doing when no one was watching. I have to call her when I'm away because she doesn't want to bother me. I don't know what to do. I'm not financially independent, but even if I was, I would feel guilty leaving her alone to live by herself. What do I do? How can I at least be more calm when she starts arguing? Now for a few comments before the update. Well, actually, this post did not have any comments. Now for the update. I'm still living with my mom. We decided to keep things going as they are for now, but I'm really focused on myself and my own plans. A few days after the last argument, she asked me to help with grocery shopping for a family gathering. I wasn't super excited about it, but I reluctantly agreed, hoping it might ease the situation just a bit. We went to a local market, and she started picking out items for the dinner, listing all the things she needed for the guests. I suggested a few new recipes I'd seen online, trying to contribute to the planning, but she shot them down right away. It was like I didn't even say anything. Classic. So there we were, shopping in awkward silence. When we were checking out, I noticed her phone buzzing with notifications, but she ignored it completely, which was kinda weird. We returned home and started prepping the food together. During all this, she began ranting about how difficult it was to keep the house clean with my messy habits. I mentioned that I was trying my best to help, but she just dismissed my comments like they were nothing. A family member arrived early for the gathering, breaking the tension a bit. My cousin Mia came to help with the last-minute details, easing the mood slightly. The dinner gathering included my aunt, uncle, and my younger sister. During dinner, everyone was laughing and sharing stories while my mom remained quiet. I tried to engage her in conversation, but she only half listened, distracted by her phone. After dinner, I noticed she stepped away to take a call in another room. When she came back, she looked flustered, but didn't mention the call at all. Everyone was still clearing up and chatting. A couple of days later, I overheard a conversation between my mom and my aunt discussing some family drama. I mean, it's always something, right? My mom later asked me if I wanted to go to another gathering, but I hesitated. She insisted it would be good for us to see him. That led to another discussion about my feelings toward my dad. I asked her if she really wanted to reconnect, but she got defensive, insisting she was just being supportive. So I decided to keep my distance and focus on my own plans for the weekend. As the gathering approached, she seemed more distracted, often lost in thought. The night before the gathering, I found her staring at old family photos. I could tell it was affecting her. After the gathering, I noticed she was more emotional, snapping at minor things again. She finally revealed she felt overwhelmed by the idea of seeing my dad again. Things have been hard lately. The arguments over trivial stuff like laundry and dishes kept popping up. A week later, we both attended a family birthday party, and the mood shifted again. I tried to engage her in conversation during the party, but she seemed really distant. As the evening went on, my frustration boiled over when she criticized me for not helping enough with the party preparations. I snapped back, saying I was tired of the constant criticism. That led us to another round of silence. After the party, she seemed to retreat further into her own world. To answer a few questions, my mom's family has been supportive, but doesn't know the full extent of our issues. I can't afford to live alone yet, so I'm still with her. We're both trying to cope in our own ways, but the situation remains challenging and hasn't improved significantly. Am I the idiot for calling out my girlfriend for ditching me for a concert with her coworker? I am 23 years old, and my girlfriend and I have been dating for the past 5 years. We initially started off as a hookup through a dating app 5 years ago. Our relationship has been quite strong for the past 4 years. We spend most of our time together, cuddle almost every night, and go on monthly dates. Our relationship has had ups and downs like most relationships, and we currently do not live together, as we have different paths going to graduate school and medical school. For our emotional connection, we are definitely a 10 out of 10, and in the past 5 years, our intimacy and physical connection was a 6 to 7 out of 10. The problem now lies in the past year, in which we have had a decreased frequency in intimacy. It went from being 3 to 4 times per week to now once a month, if that. Physically, I have always been a larger guy. I am 6 feet tall and weigh 230 pounds. However, in the past 2 to 3 years, my weight has fluctuated from 215 to 260 pounds. During that time of huskiness, our intimacy and physical connection did not waver as much. I go to the gym 3 to 5 times a week and would call myself slightly chunkier than an athletic figure, but with relatively moderate to moderate levels of body fat. My girlfriend, on the other hand, is stunning, a 10 out of 10, fit, smart, and sexy, and she is passionate about her hobbies and career, which gives me the ahuga eyes daily. I am very caring for her, making sure to comfort her whenever she feels overwhelmed, checking up on her daily, and planning monthly dates and vacations. She does the same for me, caring for me when I am emotionally down or having a bad day. However, it is recently in the past year that I have been having issues. Since we are both in our gap years before applying to medical school, we almost live together most of the time, just living 2 blocks away from each other. However, my girlfriend spends 4 months out of the year back home in New York. Since noticing the issue, we talked about it. and my girlfriend stated that she does not feel like she is physically and sexually attracted to me anymore, but she says everything else about our relationship is perfect. She also states that there are days, very infrequent, maybe 3 times this year, where she wanted to rip my clothes off. 3 times, her words, not mine. What also really gets me down is that she sometimes feels physically attracted to other men, but she says definitely way less often than her attraction to me, and at most, possibly at the same level of attraction, but not more attraction to others. I am at a loss of what to do. I do not know of any major changes in her life. She has been diagnosed with chronic depression and obsessive-compulsive disorder. The only thing I can think of is that she changed her antidepressant from a selective serotonin reuptake inhibitor to a serotonin norepinephrine reuptake inhibitor at around the beginning of the year, and she has been stressed about funding sources for her job for the past 4 months. But I'm making sure that I'm there for her regarding her stress and anxieties surrounding her job. Now for a few comments before the update. Chances are she still receives a lot of attention and wants to explore that. I'm not saying to cut things off, but you should definitely start looking elsewhere because she's trying to open that door for you. Now, for the update. I'm not sure how much more of this I can take, guys. It's been 3 weeks since my last post, and things have gotten worse fast. I honestly don't even know why I'm still trying so hard, but here we are. Olivia and I went to my parents' house for Easter dinner. My parents were excited to see us, especially since they thought we were doing great. Of course, we were pretending for them. Relationship problems? No biggie, Mom and Dad. Look at us. We're so in love. My mom made her famous honey-glazed ham, which Olivia loves. How can you resist that, right? I guess you can, but you shouldn't have to. During dinner, my dad announced that he had booked a family vacation at a beach resort for the summer. He asked if Olivia and I would join, hoping it would be a fun getaway. Olivia hesitated and said she wasn't sure she could take time off work. My brother Jake and his wife Rachel insisted we go, arguing it would be good for us. Olivia shot me a look that made me uneasy. I mean, come on, a vacation? That could be just what we need. But no, let's not go. After dinner, I went to the kitchen to help my mom clean up. I overheard my dad talking to my brother about how he hoped I would propose to Olivia soon. My brother laughed and said I'd better do it before she finds someone else. Thanks for that, bro. A few days later, I noticed Olivia was getting more distant. We had plans to go out for dinner, but she canceled at the last minute, saying she was too tired. I found out she went to a concert with her coworker instead. When I asked her about it, she got defensive and said I was being controlling. I tried to explain that I just wanted to spend time together. She rolled her eyes and said I was overreacting. Apparently, I'm overreacting all the time now. A week later, I decided to surprise her with a dinner at that new Italian place she mentioned. When I arrived, I saw her and her coworker leaving together. I confronted her about it, and she said they were just friends. The argument got worse, and she accused me of being insecure. I told her I was just looking out for our relationship. She said I was suffocating her and needed to trust her. I backed off, but the air was thick with tension. At my sister's birthday party the following weekend, things took another turn. Olivia showed up late, and I noticed she had changed outfits from earlier. I overheard her laughing with Jake's friend, who she barely knew. They were standing too close, whispering and not paying attention to anyone else. I felt my anger rise and confronted her again, asking what was going on. In the middle of the party, she yelled that I was ruining her night. My sister asked us to take it outside, and I reluctantly agreed. We ended up in the backyard, where Olivia said she needed space from me. I asked if she wanted to break up, but she didn't answer directly. I went back inside, and my parents noticed something was off. I told them everything, and they seemed shocked but didn't know what to say. Olivia left the party early and didn't talk to me for a few days. A week later, she texted me saying she was done. She mentioned needing to focus on herself and her job. I'm seriously at a loss here, you guys. I feel like I'm drowning, and no matter how hard I try, I can't get to the surface. Edit. I didn't expect this many responses. To clarify, I can't believe I forgot to mention this. Olivia and I are not legally married. We were not engaged. She is focusing on herself and her job. She also said she needed space. I think she was seeing someone else. I feel heartbroken. If you like this video, you'll probably like these too. Also, while you're here, please consider subscribing. It's your support that keeps this channel alive and allows me to make better and longer videos. Have a great day.